a mysterious doomsday virus suddenly broke out. The moment you fell asleep, you died in your sleep. Luckily, I worked as a night security guard, so when the virus first started spreading, I was still wide awake. After my shift ended, I headed to a party at a friend's house, only to be horrified by what I found. Everyone at the party was asleep. I checked a woman's pulse and quickly realized they weren't just sleeping. They had completely stopped breathing. At first, I thought it was carbon monoxide poisoning. I rushed everyone into my car and sped toward the nearest hospital. But on the way there, something felt wrong. The streets were completely empty. There wasn't a single car in sight, and even the hospital entrance was eerily deserted. When we got inside, the medical staff were overwhelmed. A nurse told me the hospital was severely understaffed that night, and that we'd have to wait our turn. With no other choice, I sat anxiously in the lobby. There was also a married couple waiting nearby. As time passed, they gradually drifted off to sleep. A few minutes later, foam started coming out of their mouths, and they suddenly collapsed to the floor. The nurse rushed over to help, only to discover that both of them were already dead. Witnessing that, the nurse panicked and ran into the office, where she found the head nurse had also died in her sleep. As unbelievable as it sounded, the evidence was becoming impossible to ignore. Anyone who fell asleep seemed to die shortly afterward. To test our theory, we decided to drive across the city and look for other survivors. We drove for hours without seeing a single living person. The nurse even got out of the car and fired a shot into the air, but nobody responded. I started to panic. I immediately called my girlfriend and told her that no matter what happened, she absolutely could not fall asleep. But Amy wasn't answering her phone. With no other option, I raced toward her house as fast as I could. At that very moment, Amy was struggling with insomnia and had just taken 2 sleeping pills. She was only seconds away from falling asleep when I suddenly kicked open her front door and burst inside. After hearing everything that had happened that night, she was terrified. She ran into the bathroom and forced herself to throw up, managing to get the pills out before they could fully take effect. The 4 of us sat down and tried to come up with a plan. By then, we had been awake for more than 24 hours straight. If we couldn't find a way to stop this mysterious virus soon, the sleep deprivation alone would eventually drive us insane. To stay awake, we decided to return to the hospital and look for stimulants and other medications that could help keep us alert. But when we arrived at the hospital again, we suddenly heard someone calling for help from one of the rooms. We rushed over and were shocked to find an elderly woman still alive. She explained that she had cancer and lived with constant, unbearable pain. The pain had kept her from falling asleep, which was the only reason she had survived. But after spending the entire night calling for help without anyone answering, she had started to feel that death might actually be easier than continuing to live like this. After hearing her story, the nurse hurried off to find some pain medication for her. When the woman learned about the mysterious virus spreading everywhere, she made a bold decision. She knew she didn't have much time left anyway, so she volunteered to become our test subject and help us find a way to stop the virus.